I'm just going to get straight in and say this. Virtual trucking just got real. Welcome to the new 2025 American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2 guide on the real way to play in VR, exclusive to Pimax. So both ATS and ETS2, as you may all know, are not native VR games and run in beta participation format from Steam. But the trucking community is huge and VR is becoming an increasingly favoured way to play both games. The games are notoriously difficult to get running in VR, but to make life simple for Pimax users, I've broken down the process into 4 easy steps, with a downloadable configuration file, launch options to make the gameplay as smooth as a buttered otter, at 200% scaling. This process utilises a technique where the frame rate is locked but the timings in the game are modified between window times to produce a smooth game. But before we jump into the guide, let's take you on a tour and show you how it plays in both games. So the fantastic team at Pimax are offering all Next Level Sim gaming subscribers an exclusive discount by using the link in the video description and the code NLSIMGaming, where you can get a fantastic discount on the Pimax Crystal Light and Pimax Super, and of course any purchases also help support the channel, helping me bring you more great Pimax related content. So we are in ATS, as you can see, and the game looks absolutely amazing. Now if I was to turn my head, you can see the rapid movements, absolutely amazing. Just in time actually, just here to see a train going past. So I'm just going to start the truck up, and we're just going to swing it round, very tight turning circle just here. And hopefully, sounds like we've got a train coming as well, so we can also see that. So I'm just going to stop just for a moment just so we can talk about what's going on here. So the game is running a lot of graphical modifications. As you can see, it looks absolutely stunning and amazing. The detail is absolutely tremendous in the Pimax Crystal Light. And as you can see here, we've just got a train going past as well, which is a really nice little timed feature to add. But I'm just going to sit back a moment and just turn the wheel round and just reposition myself here. So the game is visually stunning. I've played this game on the Quest 3, I've done some guides on the Quest 3, the Quest Pro, the Pico 4, played it on all those formats. Even with the direct USB link, the game just comes nowhere near to this level of graphical fidelity. Everything is pin sharp. We've got the added benefit on the Pimax Crystal Light of being able to run reshade, which is the OpenXR reshade, so we can run graphical modifications like Project Next Gen or PNG, as you can see here, which is it's better known as. I've also got the new Moser indicator stalk here as well, which is quite nice, so I can also adjust that and set off using that throughout the game I'm showing you now. But this is absolutely amazing, really is amazing. Now it's a little bit of a graphical trick that we've got here. So the profile that I'm going to show you, there's actually three profiles. One is the profile from a previous guide, modified slightly, which will allow the game to run at 100% scaling on pretty much most graphics cards.
Keep right, then turn right.
Now this profile is running 200% scaling at ultra settings, and as you can see, it's just as good as what you would see in terms of a desktop. I can see the fidelity of all the road surfaces, I can see the clouds just as good as you would see in terms of a desktop. I can see the clarity in the dials, absolutely everything is amazing. Now how we achieve this is we set the game to a locked frame rate and we use a timing window rescheduling, which is in the configuration file that you'll be able to download from a video description in collaboration with the guide, which I'm going to show you shortly. As you can see, this looks absolutely amazing, absolutely visually stunning, and there's no better way to play ATS in VR than there is on the Pimax. Now I'm talking, this is the Pimax Crystal, I'm due to receive a Pimax Super hopefully, so we'll also be able to show you how it looks in the Pimax Super as well. But without a doubt, it's going to be just as good, a million times better I would imagine in terms of clarity. But the Pimax Crystal Light is an absolutely fantastic headset. For a mid-range headset that is no more really than a Quest 3 512GB version, and a number of options available obviously to go with the headset to purchase these, you cannot get better PC VR gaming than with direct DisplayPort, without a doubt. Remember also that this has been recorded on OBS, it's also running on the same PC. I have a 5090 in here and an Intel Core Ultra 285K, which obviously is a great multitasking workhorse, but there's a lot going on here. I'm recording footage, I'm playing the game. As you can see, the game is absolutely amazing. So what we're now going to do is we're now going to bounce onto Euro Truck Simulator 2 which is exactly the same in terms of settings and what you need to do, as I'll show you in the guide shortly. But as you can see, it looks absolutely amazing, absolutely stunning, and there really is no better way to play than Pimax. So we're now in Euro Truck Simulator 2, and as you can see, it is just as nice in terms of visual clarity as it is on American Truck Simulator. Now, this is running once again 200% scale in exactly the same graphical settings, and if I just step outside the truck just for one moment, just to show you exactly how amazing this looks, you look at the absolute stunning level of detail in this game. Whoop, got the police behind me here. If you see how amazing this looks, it's absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing. So I'm going to step back into the cabin just for now. So this is, out of the two games, my preferred game, probably because I've played ETS2 for longest. It's a game that's been out for longer out of the two games, but this is running a higher level of modifications than ATS, which I just showed you, which is running around 90 modifications. This is running 273. Now, if you want to run a game in VR, normally you have compromises to make. There are absolutely no compromises with I'm going to come out of the way of the police car behind me, because I think it's trying to get somewhere, as I suspected. So, I'm going to take you on a short drive. I'm just going to show you how good this looks. Again, as I mentioned, there's no compromises. It's running every single graphical modification you can imagine. We're running PNG, we're running Reshade, OpenXR. As you can see, it's got all the volumetrics, all the graphical niceties that you would get only on a desktop version normally, and it's also running Pro mods as well. It's got all the DLC in the game, so we're presently on the Greece DLC, and every detail is just absolutely fantastic within this headset. It really is amazing. A bit of an accident going on there. So again, absolutely amazing. It just needs to be seen to be believed. This is just running so smoothly. Obviously I'm not going tremendously quickly here, but you can see, look out of the side window here, you can see the scenery just goes back ultra smooth. Everything is immediate. If I move my head left to right, there's no latency because it's a direct display port connection with the Pimax Crystal Light. If we were using something like a Quest 3 or a Pico 4, you've obviously got that compression and decompression to contend with, and you just don't have any of that with these headsets. It is simply the best way to play either of these games, and it's really nice to see that Pimax are finally acknowledging the fact that it's not just about flight simulator games. There's a huge trucking community out there, and Pimax are really acknowledging and getting behind the communities. You know, they approached me and said, you know, would you update the guide, and we'll open a Discord group on this. We're going to add a section on our website to let everybody know about this. You know, very equally as enthusiastic, and it's amazing to see a company that really does care. You wouldn't get that in a huge corporation, mentioning no names. That level of care that goes into the community is simply second to none. You look at the mountain ranges as we just come around this corner here, it's absolutely stunning. You know, it really is amazing. So without further ado, I'm going to take you on to the guide now, show you how to get your game running in 4 easy steps, just like this. And to take the hard work out of it for you, I've also created a configuration file that you can download from the description in the video, and you can then simply copy and paste that into your configuration file, as I'm going to show you. And there's no hard work or any additional input required from yourself.
Go straight on.
Other than to set the in-game settings to replicate how I've shown you here, and also set the same settings up in Pimax Play as well. Okay, in this first section of the video, we're going to be taking a look at the Pimax Play settings. First we need to do is we need to open up the Pimax Play application, and we need to ensure that the device is connected, as you can see here, and then we need to then move over to device settings. Once we launch device settings, the device settings window will appear, and then we need to then select the following options. For refresh rate, we can select 120 Hz. If running a high-end GPU, or alternatively you can select 90 if that works better for you. Moving down, there's nothing else we need to change within this area just here. Onto games, we need to select for this particular instance the high settings. When we move on to customize, you'll see that 1 is selected for render quality. Moving back onto high, high is set at 1. We then need to deselect the Open XR quad views and the Pimax Central priority rendering, although it does also work well with either of these selected as well. Hidden area mask we leave selected. Smart smoothing also works very well with the latest Pimax Play updates. You can select that if you wish, but that's obviously a preference you may wish to explore. Onto general, we then need to ensure that the Pimax XR runtime is selected, and there is nothing that needs changing in advance apart from you may want to deactivate chaperone because you're playing in a seated position and obviously you don't require that to be active. If you want to customize a setting to save them to a particular game, if we go into the common settings and I'm selecting AM Trucks for American Truck Simulator just here, and we click on enable program settings, we can then replicate those same settings in here, and then we can then click on apply to save if we wish to do that. The most important part of the process is to ensuring that you have the correct files on your PC. To do this, we need to open up the Steam library, as you can see here, and then we need to select the game American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator 2 on the left hand side. We're selecting American Truck Simulator in this example, and as you can see we have the American Truck Simulator configuration page just here. On the right hand side here we need to select the Manage cog icon, and then we need to select Properties. Once we select Properties, it will then open up this window here. We're going to talk about the launch options in a moment because this is a custom launch option and this sets various window times to ensure resizing is correct. However, the first thing we need to do to get the actual game to download the correct files onto our PC is to select the Betas tab on the left hand side. At the moment in time it'll probably have none up here for you. You need to select the Oculus plus OpenVR plus OpenXR runtime, which is the latest 1.54 version at the time of recording this video. Select this, it will then download the files onto your PC. We're now going to move on to how to set the configuration in the game, and then we can then come back to it in a moment. Once the VR files are finished downloading on Steam, we then need to move on to the configuration file. The configuration file is located within the Documents folder. We locate that by using File Explorer, and on the left hand tab you will see we have a section that says Documents. Click on Documents, you can see here we have American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2 just on the sections just here, and we're going to use American Truck Simulator again, however both remain exactly the same in terms of configuration. If we double click on this, we can then see that there is a actual file that's called config, and it's a very small file. If we right click on this and then we then simply open this with Notepad. Once it's open, you can see here that it produces another window, and this contains various information that tells the game basically what parameters need to be set to make the game operate. Now, there are various variables within here, and most of them will relate particularly to your PC in terms of, for example, monitor, etc. The only ones we're interested in changing are specific ones, and to make life easy for you, I've actually created a specific configuration file that will allow you to change the variables that are required. In the video description you will see there is a Pimax configuration file to download. Once you've downloaded that configuration file and also opened within Notepad, you'll see that it contains the amended variables within here. All we need to do is simply press Ctrl and A to select all, and then we press Ctrl and C. We then come into the original configuration file, and we then need to just simply paste those values into there. I'm not going to do that on this occasion because all the values are exactly the same, so it won't do anything. However, it's as simple as that. It'll save you a lot of time and make life a lot easier for you. And once you've pasted the new values in, you need to ensure that you then select File and Save. That will then close the document down, and that's all we need to do at this stage. In the video description you will see a secondary file to download, which is another Notepad document, and if we download it, it's labelled Launch Options. Open this, and then we need to then open it with Notepad again. You'll see that the contents of which will contain this variable here. We need to go into the window, we need to select Ctrl and A, or we can simply highlight and right click and copy. Close this down. We then need to go back into Steam, and you can see that we have American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2 just here. We're using American Truck Simulator again for this example. Go back onto the Manage icon on the right hand side at the top, select open and then properties. The property window will open. The first option available is general. You will then see there are some launch options which are just at the bottom right here. We need to launch again with DirectX 11. We then need to enter the options into the advanced field here that we've just copied, right click and paste those values into here. The game will then open in OpenXR mode in Pimax automatically once the game is launched and the Pimax player application is open, and then we can then move on to the actual in-game settings next. In this section we're going to be showing you the in-game graphical settings. To do this we need to launch the game and then we need to go down on the main menu to the options section. You'll see here there is an option that says graphics. We select that on the bottom left. When you first launch this, the window may appear like this. We need to click on show advanced settings and that will then enable us to customize in the section within here. The first we need to do is deselect full screen mode. Then we need to select the option for resolution to 2560 by 1440. And this works very well in the Pimax Crystal headset and gives the best resolution in display. In refresh rate we need to select 119Hz due to the fact that our Pimax Crystal Light is set to the 120Hz mode. VSync needs to be disabled. FPS limits are automatically set by our custom configuration file we just did. In scaling we need to set this to 200% and then the anti-aliasing needs to be set to SMA8 Ultra. The other variables are grayed out because they are automatically set by our configuration file we just amended. In textures we need to set the equality to high and the filtering to 16 multiplier. We need to have normal map selected. Reflection scaling set to 200%, all the other options are set to high and ultra. Moving down to shadows we have the ultra shadow quality, the fast shadows enabled, interior shadows are disabled due to the fact it doesn't make a great deal of difference in VR. The most important setting we need to disable is the screen space ambient occlusion setting, which as you can see here we've set to disabled. If we don't disable this it will add the massive lag onto the game and will be a massive impact on in-game FPS and alter the timing so the game doesn't work correctly. In lighting we need to set the visibility to high. The traffic headlights and secondary vehicle lights are optional to your liking. I have them both enabled. Depth of field once again is another optional feature. If you have this disabled, far details like mountains etc when they come into view will be slightly off feature, and once again you may want to try this with both options enabled and disabled to your liking. I have it enabled in this instance. Sun shafts and colour correction I have both enabled. Vegetation quality high and ultra set to high for weather quality as well. For pedestrians once again this is a setting you may wish to enable or disable based upon your liking. All these settings are all listed in the video description to make it easy once again for you to actually set these variables. Once we've done this we can then exit out of this feature and then we can go back out of the game and we can then go back into the game and launch in VR correctly. Another feature within American Truck Simulator is the temporal anti-aliasing mod by Snowymoon. This is not a paid mod and the mod is available to freely download, hence the reason why I'm able to show you in this video. On Snowymoon's page, and the link is in the video description, you can go onto the page and support Snowymoon through the Patreon page just here if you wish to also. If we go onto the Snowymoon Euro and American Truck Simulator configuration pages here, by clicking here, you will see that it brings up some various options. There is an option called TAA, Temporal Anti-Aliasing version 10. It has the installation instructions just here. We simply download the file, and once downloaded to our PC, we need to open the zips file which we've downloaded, and once open we need to select these two files. There are two files which are DLL files, and we then highlight those and we then simply click on copy files. Then the easiest way to locate the download installation section is to reopen American Truck Simulator on the Steam page as you see here. Go back onto the manage icon, then if we go onto properties, we then need to go onto installed files, and then if you go onto the section where it shows browse, it will then show you the location of where those files are installed. Once we are inside the location, we then need to go to the top section which is called bin. We then need to go to WinX64, and then we simply then right click and we need to then paste those values into here. You can see that the DLL files are already installed here, and then moving on to the game again, Once we are in the game main menu, we simply then press the end button on our keyboard and it will then bring up the Snowymoon temporal anti-aliasing modification. We then need to select temporal anti-aliasing clarity, FXAA disabled I would recommend, and set to the values you can see here. Once we have set the values as you can see on screen, we then need to simply select end and then we can then launch a game in VR. So thank you once again for watching, and there are some links here to some other videos which you may find of interest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and it would really help support the channel by dropping a like, subscribe. Until next time, take care and I'll see you again soon.